These damn Democrats. So earlier this week, Nancy Pelosi and the gang took a moment of silence. They took a knee and they had on kente cloth in honor of George Floyd. And I'm going to assume these are smart people. And I can't imagine that there was not anyone there to tell them, I don't think this is a good idea. Um, I just can't imagine that many intelligent people coming to that decision. And the reason it's such a bad decision is because it comes across as condescending. It comes across almost as a mockery. And to me, it looks like a real weak attempt to pander for votes. And that is horrible. How can we get on the current president about taking a photo with a Bible in front of a church and this is all hype and media driven and it's fake and no one wanted him there, but yet we can accept these Democrats doing essentially the same thing. It's absolutely terrible. And me, for one, I'm just getting sick of the entire thing. Right now, we have companies that it's like an arms race to see who can put out a statement of how much they donated to black causes now. And I'm sick of it because for me, it just seems like this is just too much, too fast. And my fear is all of this stuff that's going on is just a cool thing to do. And eventually it's going to fade away. All of these policies are created for loopholes. I mean, we've made laws since the beginning of time, and those laws are people always find a way to have a loophole. So even with the laws in place, I don't think anything's going to change. Just like it's in vogue to be pro-black right now. And all of these companies with these statements, well, for a good majority of you, where were you before all of this happened? Does it take just people, because I'm not going to say the black community, because it surely was not just the black community out here rioting and looting, but does it take people on behalf of the black community to riot and to loot for you all to understand that there's an injustice going on? Have you all not sat in your corporate boardrooms when you're interviewing candidates and say, wow, something is fundamentally wrong? Have you not sat in your boardroom or your board meetings and looked around and said, wow, why does everyone look like me? Why did you not feel it was wrong then? Now all of a sudden you have violent action to have you all come out and say, yes, things were wrong. That's BS. That is BS, and it's all pandering. So I don't like it. I'm for permanent change. I'm for getting to the point in society where my name on my resume is not a strike against me. And I don't know how we're going to get to that point to change, but that's where it needs to go. And people need to change because they fundamentally want to change. I firmly believe Drew Brees said what he said, and he meant what he said. And for him to all of a sudden have a moment of clarity, I don't buy it. But at the same time, Drew is entitled to his opinion. If he's passionate about something, then stick with it. Simply stick with it. You've played 20 plus years or whatever in the NFL. Stick by your guns, man. So if you're gonna change course that quickly, then that means you can change course again just as quick. So if you're gonna say it, mean it, and stick by it, and whatever the consequences are, the consequences are. The other thing is this. It's not the ones who are out here saying we support black business, and we support black lives, and black lives matter. All of that is garbage until I see the results that comes after this. But the ones that concern me more are the ones who are quiet. because they're plotting and they're planning and they're strategizing. And now, all of a sudden, as African Americans, especially African American males, that door is going to be even tougher to open up. So until we can get laws aimed at just fair opportunities in terms of the interview, in terms of a job placement, just in terms of the entire process, nothing's going to change. And I know people may say, that sounds like affirmative action. We already have affirmative action. No, that's not what I'm talking about. See, affirmative action is tricky because if you're an institution and you want to stay one way and you're forced to bring in somebody else just because of their color or their gender, to me, basically what you would do to support your claim that they don't belong is you admit the subpar ones. Because then you can say, look, the black students or the females or whatever it may be, oh yeah, they don't do well in these circumstances. So you can sabotage the system there. I'm talking about a system where you're not judged by the color of your skin. You're not judged by the name on your resume. You're only judged by your performance. And not only that, you are judged by your credentials. If you have the credentials and you have shown the ability to perform, you need to get the opportunity. And right now, people are too comfortable with status quo. And that's why you see majority white boards. Right now in America, there's 71% of senior executives are white men. And white men make up 30% of the United States population. So can you please explain that to me? Are white men just that much smarter than everyone else? Or is it just a buddy-buddy? As a matter of fact, I do, my wife and I, we actually go through and look at companies. We'll look at their C-suite, and we'll look at the C-suite, and we'll look, and obviously a lot of the major companies, there's very limited, if any, diversity. And when it comes to black men, it's even less. And I realize that companies say, you know what, we can satisfy our minority claim by just putting a white woman in place. So I feel like, white women have really benefited from just these minority causes. But nonetheless, I digress. Generally, at the top of that board, the CEO is a white male. And we look through and we see the credentials, and numerous times that white male does not have the same credentials as the people who are under him. And if we did it just based on credentials and not this just hidden code, I think the top of that food chain would look a lot different. Now, am I saying that it's going to be all African American males? No, but I'm for diversity. So if there are women at the top of that food chain, if there are other minorities at the top of that food chain, but it needs to represent America. And again, only 30% of the population are white males. So we need to figure that out. And that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for that type of change. I'm not looking for a kneeling in kente cloth to show your honor for George Floyd. Honestly, this whole thing is not about George Floyd. And I've heard people talk about George and how he had this lethal mix of drugs in his system, and he was going to have heart failure, and he had COVID. And they used every single thing in the book to tear this man down. He was a criminal. He robbed a pregnant woman. Okay. And he deserves his day in court for that. But Derek Chauvin didn't know that when he had his knee on his neck or back or whatever you want to claim. He held the man down until the man died. Point blank. And people who go and assassinate this man's character, you're just small-minded. But the point I'm making is this. This is not about George Floyd. George Floyd was a tipping point. That's all George Floyd was. He was the tipping point to what happened. And he was the person who ended up being the face of what happened, because Breonna Taylor could have easily been his face. And she was at home asleep when they barged in and killed her. And I know people will compare it to Duncan Lemp. And my heart goes out to Duncan Lemp and Duncan Lemp's family. But if you really, really, really investigate that case, you'll know there was more to it than just innocent white male who was killed by cops. So let's not compare the two. But nonetheless, this movement or the recent events are not about George Floyd. They're about a group of people who feel oppressed, who feel disrespected. And if we can't march and if we can't do things or assimilate or whatever to get your respect, then we take it. And that's what they did. They took it. And I'm not for rioting, and I'm definitely not for looting. But if it leads to change, then it's the collateral damage. And that's what just had to occur. And I'm a small business owner. Luckily, I don't have a storefront. But I just, my heart goes out to them. But if this leads to change, then it's a small price to pay. So hopefully that doesn't get any of you upset. Hopefully you understand what I mean. But in no way, shape, or form do I advocate rioting or looting to prove a point. But at a certain point, people just get fed up and they get tired. And again, for you Democrats, stop pandering. Stop pretending like it's about black people. Nancy Pelosi is worth $120 million. I don't think there's much concern of her pulling the black race up for anything. I feel that these liberals, everything they do is for personal gain. And you create these programs that keep, especially the perception minorities, dependent on these public assistance programs and whatnot. And we're not doing much to lift them out of poverty. And people talk about crime and black on black crime. Let's stop looking at color and look at economics. And you compare crime stats to economic wealth, and you'll start to see a clearer picture. So please, please, please stop pandering to the black community. I work with kids all the time, and I have kids who have mental illness. I've worked with kids who've had autism, and I've worked with handicapped kids. And you know what? I make it a point. I don't look at them for their disabilities. I look at them as they're just normal. So if they do something wrong, I get on them about it. If they do something good, I pat them on the back for it. But stop pandering to the black community as if we're children, as if we are, it's like, oh, we're sorry what we did. Screw that. Screw that. We helped build this country. And all we're asking for is to have the ability to share space in this country. We did not help build Africa. We helped build the United States of America. Our soldiers fought for the rights of this country. Our soldiers fought against the Confederates. And we were poorly trained, and we had poor equipment, and we still fought our butts off for this country. So please, please, please give us that respect. That's what we're asking. Stop judging us by the actions of a few. And that's the Democrats and the liberals. Now, when it comes to the Republicans, I think I'll save that for another time. But if you're out there and you think that because you don't like the liberals and you don't like what the liberals are doing, and you think that's an automatic excuse to go vote for the conservatives, yeah, think again. So anyway, if you like the content, please subscribe, hit the like button. If you don't like it, please put a comment, challenge my video, challenge my thoughts, and I look forward to it. I look forward to the debate. So until next time, take care. And for all of you out there, make sure before you judge us, get to know us.